All right, so I'm ready to show you the steps to factoring. We use what we call the X box method. Okay, I'm going to give you the steps. Hopefully, before you have seen these notes or taken these notes, you would have practiced half of this. So the first step looks very familiar to what you probably have been practicing today, or you're definitely going to practice for the remainder of this unit. So for step number one, we're going to take out the GCF and we're going to put in parentheses if there is one. Now, we spent some time in section 10.5 talking about the GCF, the greatest common factor. And when you are solving, we're not solving them yet, simplifying polynomials so that you can put them in different formats, taking out the GCF is very important. Now, the reality is, this isn't going to happen very often. But we just need to still take a moment to look at your A, your B, and your C from here. Let me see. Let me write it down again. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about what you just wrote down in your box. You're going to look at the quadratic and just see, do I have, a GCF of the A, B, and C? All right. Now, I didn't say the X because the C doesn't have an X. So there is no GCF for the variable. You're just going to be looking at the three numbers to see if there's a GCF. If there is one, please take it out and you're going to put it in front of it. Second step is you're going to use the X factor. And I'm calling it the X factor. I'm not talking about the TV show. I'm talking about the X that you have seen, hopefully, at least in the warm-up for today, where the top number is the product of whatever A times C is. And you'll know what I mean in a minute when we have real numbers. And the bottom number is the B. So what you have to do is tell me what two numbers that when I multiply them give me the product of AC, but when I add or subtract them, give me the B. A lot of people call this the magic X, okay? Because it's kind of like a play on the numbers. So whatever we find out here, these two numbers, when you multiply them, they'll give you the top number. When you add them or subtract them, they'll give you the bottom number. So that's the first thing you do, is figure out what these two missing pieces are. That's step two. Step three is where the box comes from, all right? So you're going to draw yourself a 2 by 2. But the difference is we start on the inside. Remember, when we were doing the box method for multiplying, you would write your information on the outside and fill it in. Well, when you're factoring, you work in reverse. You put your information on the inside, and we're going to fill out the outside. So here's what you put inside. Top corner will be your first term. Whatever AX squared is, you put it in that box. Now, bottom corner down here, you see where I am right here? That's going to be whatever your constant is, your C value. And then your diagonal is going to be whatever you have in the boxes times X times X. Your diagonal is whatever you get from your magic X. So your magic X is key, because if your magic X is wrong, your box is going to be wrong, and then your answer is going to be wrong. Okay, so that's step three. And then step four, you're going to find the greatest common factors. Remember, that's the GCF, vertically and horizontally. And you're like, what are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about the box. All right? So I want you to write that down, and then I want you to look at what I'm saying. Your box is going to have, let me get a different color here. If I look vertically at this column, I can pull out a GCF. Same with this column. If I go across horizontally, I can find a GCF between these two terms and these two terms. That's what I mean. Now, I'm going to add one more thing to it. This is important. The sign of the numbers in the box, in your boxes, these two boxes, will be the sign of the GCF. And we'll encounter that in a minute. So don't stress. Just write it down right now. Whatever the sign is of your numbers in the boxes, that's going to be the sign of your GCF. So if one of them is negative, that means you're going to have a GCF that's negative. Okay? All right, let me pull this up. So hopefully you got step 4. And then step 5 is simple. Rewrite the GCFs as 2 binomials. 2, and I guess I should say linear because that's what they're going to be. Binomials. That's it. That's your steps. Write these steps down, ladies and gentlemen. I know it may not make sense until we apply it, and